How you getting on? This is the first episode of a new project for the Albany Shantymen. We're going to be talking about some of the stories behind the songs that we do as a group. Some of them original, some of them traditional, but there's always a story behind it. And today we're heading to the pub to talk about a song called the Albany Immigrants. It was the first song we did, and more than anything else, it was the song that pulled us together as a group. Today we're going to be talking to two of the original members, Bruce and Martin. I'll see you at the pub.
We sailed from Cork on a windy day with a dark and cloudy sky. Our friends were standing on the quay and the women stood and cried. But we were young enough for fun and the richest we could find. So raise your glass and drink a toast to the girls we left behind. Ho! Hey dear, drink up your beer, we're leaving in the morn. Aboard the ship, the Castlemaine, for Australia round the Horn. Ho! Hey dear, drink up your beer, we're leaving in the morn. Aboard the ship, the Castlemaine, for West Australia round the Horn.
This is the first one of these.
Quite possibly the last.
What I wanted really, I suppose, was the opportunity to talk about that first time that we met.
Ever I saw your face, I felt the earth move in your eyes.
See, this is gold.
Yeah, I know.
I'm
really playing up for the camera.
Can you remember the first time
Well, I remember it very well.
that we got in contact, even before I got here? Can you remember?
Yeah.
Bruce, he's the contact.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you contacted us on the Albany Irish Session Facebook page, and I think both you and Jen liked the page, and it was like, well, that's weird. But it wasn't unusual for people to not know where Albany was and just like the page. We've had people from the United States and people from Ireland and all over the place liking the Facebook page, telling us they were going to be there on Friday and not realising there was 12,000 miles to cover before then. But anyway. Sorry, Martin.
That's all right.
Try harder.
Entertain us. You, monkey man, does for us.
Tony Gary's video. You don't have to try that hard.
Yeah, I remember. Yep. Yeah, it was good.
Strange overtures to you from Norfolk.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was.
Intense man of Norfolk rights.
Do you sing the Albany the Albany Immigrants? And
Is that what he asked?
yeah.
Right.
Do you guys sing the Albany Immigrants at the session?
Yeah.
Never heard it.
No. And we wouldn't have anyway, because Terry would never that kind of nonsense.
No, that's true.
So yeah, we never really did find out with the Albany Immigrants whether it was a local song or whether it was.
I wrote it.
You wrote it. Did you write it in the 1970s?
Yeah.
Okay. As a member of the Albany Folk Club?
Oh God, no. I was at school in Perth,
Okay.
and we all had to write a folk song about some West Australian town.
And you wrote it?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
So,
I thought it was rubbish, to be honest. It surprised me when people started singing it.
so like the mystery of where that song came from has been solved.
Do we owe you royalties?
I don't go with any of that.
Oh, jeez, mate.
You just got too much money already.
Yeah.
What I
$3
have,
a
what I
week
have
for
to give,
150 years.
I give away for free. It's yeah.
Are you wealthy in other ways?
I'm on a mission from God.
To do what?
To bless the world with,
No,
I've got to edit all of this shite.
with my creepy tongue.
You leave some of it in.
I've been singing the Albany Immigrants for 8 years.
Okay, excellent.
Wouldn't have a clue who wrote it.
So it's been a bit of a mystery for the group who wrote this song. We've actually had recently a bombshell announcement from a man called Martin Healy, who claims to have written the song during his primary school years.
Very talented.
We're trying to get to the bottom of this, but found out recently that the Fremantle-based group, the Lost Keys, have actually added the Albany Immigrants to their recently announced album, and Jeff Swain, who's kind of, I suppose you describe him as the eye candy of their group, he has told us that he has a theory as to who wrote the song. Can you just shed a little bit of light on that?
Yeah, I've got some recent communication from Jeff. He says he's been looking into the Albany Immigrants a bit, and he's been talking to Sean Roach, who recorded it back in the 1970s. And he was saying him and his mate, Fricky Ferguson, wrote the music, and he thinks it's from a poem written possibly by a lady of the name of Wendy Evans.
Okay.
But he can't find any documentation on it, so he doesn't really have a clue.
So has he corresponded with Wendy Evans? Is there any indication that he's actually had any correspondence with her? We don't know at this time.
I haven't got my glasses.
Remains a mystery. Okay. Thank you very much, Andrew Pirate Collins.
I wrote it.
You wrote it. Did you write it in the 1970s?
Yeah.
We are investigating the origins of the song, The Albany Immigrants.
We are, yes.
And we have a proposed theory that it was in fact written by Martin Healy during his primary school years as part of a school project, but we're not absolutely certain that that is correct. I understand we've had some correspondence from, I think, a man who could be rightly described as the godfather of shanties in WA, Pete Buggy Bugden.
Yeah, absolutely.
What does Pete have to tell us?
Peter said on our Facebook page, he said that we should have asked Peter Murphy, who was another member of the Firkins, I believe.
Yeah.
So should have asked Murph. He'd have told you it was written by Wendy Evans.
Wendy Evans.
Yes.
So this is the second person who's expounded the Wendy Evans theory.
The Wendy Evans theory. And
Okay.
last I know, Martin is not Wendy Evans.
Martin is not, nor ever has been.
Not,
Wendy Evans?
nor ever has been.
Okay, good
Wendy
to know.
Evans. Yes.
All right, thank you very much.
You're very welcome. I wrote it.
You wrote it. Did you write it in the 1970s?
Yeah.
We had a theory that a man called Martin Healy wrote the song in primary school, and some doubt has been cast over this theory. There have been a number of people who have expounded that it was actually written by somebody else.
Yes.
Okay. And we have been recommended to speak to Peter Murphy. So what did Murphy have to say?
Well, Buggy's apparently asked him the same question last week, and he reckons that the words were written by Wendy Evans.
Wendy Evans. Wendy Evans, not Martin Healy.
I wrote it.
You wrote it. Did you write it in the 1970s?
Yeah.
And what have you got in your hand then?
Oh, well, I've got a copy of an album by the Settlers
Yep.
called Bound for Western Australia.
So, is the song The Albany Immigrants on this album?
It is, yes.
And does it say on the album who wrote it?
No, it doesn't.
Okay. Does it say that Wendy wrote any of the songs on the album?
It does. It says it credits Wendy Evans with writing several of the songs on this album.
But crucially,
Not
the Albany Immigrants.
not the Albany Immigrants.
Okay. So the plot thickens. Does it say at any stage that the Albany Immigrants, the song, was written by Martin Sugarman Healy?
No.
It doesn't.
No.
But it doesn't say that it wasn't written by him.
Well, it says in this inside leaf, there's quite a substantial booklet that comes with the album that talks about Albany and its place in history of Western Australia. And there is the full lyrics of the Albany Immigrants with an E, not immigrants with an I. And when it's attributing the song, it says that it's traditional.
Okay. Wow. Gosh.
I know. Bombshell.
Will we ever find out who really wrote this song?
Oh well, I mean, I doubt it.
I doubt it.
I think it's been lost in the
Annals of history.
In the annals of history. That's right.
Okay. Thank you very much, Barry Norman.
I wrote it.
You wrote it. Did you write it in the 1970s?
Yeah.
You're like the Sherlock Holmes of the group.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
So I set myself to tracking down who wrote the Albany Immigrants.
Tell us about your investigation.
Okay, so I rang John Watson, and he said that the person he thought wrote it, and also a song called The Girls of Albany, was a guy called Alan Ralph, who now lives in Queensland. And I got Alan's number and rang him, and he said he didn't write it, but he didn't write the Albany Immigrants. He did write
Hang on. Did he say that Martin Sugarman Healy wrote it?
No, I didn't ask him that because it didn't seem appropriate. I did ask him if he thought Wendy Evans had written it, and he said no, Wendy Evans didn't write it.
Okay.
But he wasn't sure who did. I then spoke to my friend Tony Henry, who is an ex-Firkin, and he told me that it was written by Alan Ferguson, and he gave me Alan Ferguson's phone number, and I rang Alan Ferguson, and he has admitted that he wrote it.
Alan Ferguson wrote it in 1826?
No, in the mid-70s.
Oh, the 1870s?
Well, probably the late 70s, probably before the sesquicentenary. I bet you can't say that, Barry.
I get back there.
You can get back in here. Hang on, bring a chair with you.
And I see Alan's on that record cover in a number of guises, but not as the writer. But he says he wrote it. I explained to him how the song figures in our foundation story, you picking it up in Sheringham and bringing it here, and he said he did speak to some people in England who he thinks probably was the Sheringham Shantymen, and they wanted his permission to sing it, and he gave his permission to sing it, and he's given his permission to us to sing it. He said we can use it. He would like a copy of our version and attribution, but other than that, he's happy for us to use the song.
Well, I'm a bit confused by that, because Alan S. Ferguson appears on this album.
Yeah.
And he's credited with writing the lyrics to Coolgardie and the Kalgoorlie Pipeline, but not the Albany Immigrants. So why, if he was, I think he was one of the settlers, why would this not say that he wrote that? And why would it also not say? Why would it also say on the lyrics that it's traditional?
Yeah, I don't know, but he spoke to me this afternoon, and he said he's a
fraud, liar.
So can I just say,
well,
Barry?
It's a bit late now, because I've said to him, why don't you come to the Shanty Festival and sing it with us?
Yeah.
Barry,
let's see if he can sing it.
Yeah, that's right.
Are you suggesting that this Alan Ferguson did in fact not write it, and that all along it was actually written by Martin Healy?
I think that's the only plausible explanation.
That's the only plausible explanation. It's the only thing that fits the facts.
That's right.
Okay.
I mean, if you eliminate every other possible solution, the only one that's left must be the solution, and that is that Martin Sugarman Healy wrote it when he was in primary school.
Okay, you heard it here first.
To add to what Alan said, he wrote it with Alice Gray as the ship, so he doesn't know where the Castlemaine came from. And he said all the names and details in the song were just out of his imagination. They don't relate to any
actual ships or places.
Ships or places or people.
So Albany was made up?
Apart from Albany.
Okay. Is that quite enough bullshit for one night?
I think so.
I think so.
I think we've overdone the quota.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
It is a mystery why he didn't put it on the album.
That's right.
I wrote it.
You wrote it. Did you write it in the 1970s?
Yeah.
We sailed from Cork on a windy day with a dark and cloudy sky. Our friends were standing on the quay and the women stood and cried. But we were young and up for fun and the richest we could find. So raise your glass and drink a toast to the girls we left behind. Ho! Hey dear, drink up your beer, we're leaving in the morn. Aboard the ship, the Castlemaine, we're Australia round the Horn. Ho! Hey dear, drink up your beer, we're leaving in the morn. Aboard the ship, the Castlemaine, for West Australia round the Horn. My brother Jack was a sailor man aboard the Blackball line. He jumped his ship in Albany and now he's doing fine. The letter lad he wrote to us said come and join me here. So we're off to Albany in the morn without a doubt or fear. Ho! Hey dear, drink up your beer, we're leaving in the morn. Aboard the ship, the Castlemaine, we're sailing round the Horn. Ho! Hey dear, drink up your beer, we're leaving in the morn. Aboard the ship, the Castlemaine, for West Australia round the Horn. Now Jack's a farm near Albany with livestock by the score. He says the trees do touch the sky, he carries, so we're told. A sailing ships arrive each day with diggers off for gold, and 100 whales are plainly seen a frolicking in the sound. Ho! Penny dear, drink up your beer, we're leaving in the morn. Aboard the ship, the Castlemaine, for Australia round the Horn. Ho! Penny dear, drink up your beer, we're leaving in the morn. Aboard the ship, the Castlemaine, for West Australia round the Horn. And now we're underway, me boys, the ship's bell loudly sounds. The key is now well out of sight and we are seaward bound. And as we're rounding passage west, the good ship gets full sail. A parting glance to Erin's Isle from the rolling ship deck rail. Ho! Penny dear, drink up your beer, we're leaving in the morn. Aboard the ship, the Castlemaine, for Australia round the Horn. Ho! Penny dear, drink up your beer, we're leaving in the morn. Aboard the ship, the Castlemaine, for West Australia round the Horn. They sailed from Cork on a windy day with a dark and cloudy sky. Their friends were standing on the quay and the women stood and cried, 'cause they were young and up for fun and the riches they could find. So raise your glass and drink a toast to the girls we left behind. Oh, Penny dear, drink up your beer, we're leaving in the morn. Aboard the ship, the Castlemaine, for Australia round the Horn. Oh,